Hello, I haven't looked at a Yaquinto game in a while, and always enjoy their games from the late 70s, early 80s. This is Hero, a game of adventure in the catacombs. It's a fantasy dungeon crawl. It's what they call an album game, and it's a thin album game versus they have the thicker album games, like for instance Asteroid Pirates is the thicker one, which as you see. I got a really nice copy of it, so I'm gonna look at it here. Actually, one of these album games actually found in a vinyl record album section of a Goodwill, so they are the same size as albums. Cover art is nice, well done. Definitely fantasy art of the time. Our hero is battling some bad guys. And it does indicate here that, oh, by the way, this is a game only. It doesn't contain a record, so that's kind of fun. It's 1980 from Yaquinto. Hero is a wild, no-holds-barred man-to-man or beast game on 2 levels. Players control their own hero in their portion of the maze as well as monsters in the opponent's portion. Each hero is composed of several categories: intelligence, physical appearance, class strength, luck, hits, and weapons for proficiency. Monsters include such creatures as trolls, ogres, zombies, goblins, lycanthropes, men, and horribly alluring succubus. Your hero must avoid traps, slaughter monsters, gather gold, and make it to the end of the labyrinth to win the hand of the stunning daughter of the most powerful wizard in the land. So the map board is within the game here. So I'll show. It's got 150 die cut counters in the rule book. Doesn't include dice, but Yaquinto dice are some of my favorites. I just brought some Yaquinto dice from another new game I have. I'll use those. Dice aren't included in this game. Credits: design, development, rules, Michael S. Matheny. Production: J. Stephen Peak. Cover: John Hagen. Typeset: Rita Allenberg. Graphics and printing: Robert Yaquinto Printing Company Incorporated. And then playtesters. And within the, you fold it out, it's got pockets where you can put the rules and counters. The album game opens up and the maps on the inside of it here, and I'll talk about that in more detail. Rulebook, it's 12 pages, but a lot of that is examples. It's black and white, so it looks like it'll be pretty straightforward. Look into that. The game's for 2 to 3 players, and you have these 3 different heroic profile tables to describe the 3 different characters, tracking their attributes. And like we're in D&D, you'd have charisma, strength, constitution, etc. Here you have several different attributes, and of course you put counters here indicating where you're at in the different types. The P is the physical appearance. I is hero's intelligence. C is the class or style. S is the strength. L, degree of luck. H, amount of damage it can do or hits. W is the weapon proficiency. M, number of squares the hero can move, and the action the hero may perform each turn. A is the type of armor the hero is wearing, and these are weapon proficiencies for short sword, long sword, dagger, axe, long axe, hammer, and spear. So for type of armor, in the A column here, N is no armor, L is leather, M is mail, P is plate. SH is a shield being carried. And in the back they had some fun by talking about what the different characteristics mean. For instance, physical appearance. In 0, you promote a gag reflex, but 8 or 9, you're quite attractive. Class. So class is how stylish you are. It's not like class like I'm a wizard or I'm a barbarian. It's how much style you have. So 0, you drool at the dinner table. 6, you can mix in normal crowd. 9, you're happy hanging out with the king. Here's all the counters, like I said, 150 of them. And the unique ones are down here. And typical for Yaquinto, they're thicker than regular counters, which is nice. I like how thick they are. Here's the unique counters. They're divided into these 3 different colors for the 3 players. And then the white are for all players to use. And they're the same between the players. Here's the monsters. It's a troll, ogre, goblin, great goblin, men, zombie, lycanthrope, trap, and the infamous succubus. Dummy counter, gold, and then this is the hero counter, and that's the same for each of the 3 colors. And these are dot markers for the different players for different indications. Turn marker, and then for all a gold marker and a jewels marker. I'm happy with the game board. It's well done. Again, it's on the inside of the album. See, these are the different areas of the map board. These 3 different areas are where the different players are in these 3 different player locations. Tables up here. I always like it when they include the tables on the game board. Okay, your sequence of play, movement costs, Elisa track, which we'll talk about, trap determination, trap attack, succubus attack, outwitting monsters, opening doors, monster, blocking values, taking a breather, combat table here, monsters to hit, combat modifiers for the hero, combat modifiers for the monster, then the wound table. And these are placeholders for the different monsters, of course. So on the map itself, so this area is where the Elisa area is, where that's the goal of each hero to reach this area to have a chance to win the game. This corridor area here, it's an area that may be moved in by all heroes. And if there's only 2 players, just use the 2 diagonal player areas. So these kind of major player areas, they have different attributes. So yellow colored, smooth textured are rooms. Gray colored, rough textured areas are hallways or passages. Black areas are areas that are prohibited, so you can't go into those areas. And there's the Great Pit. You can't go into the Great Pit. Yellow covered, rough textured areas represent halls and passageways that are lit by torches. Each square is 8 feet wide. And each monster or hero counter represents an individual. And each game turn is approximately 1 minute of real time. Then we'll get into the rules. Getting into the rules here, so using the hero setup sheet, hero profile table, all players must purchase their heroes' P, I, C, S, L, W, H, and M characteristic levels. Each level in each characteristic is worth a certain number of points. P, I, C, S, and M characteristics are worth 1 point per level, or a maximum of 9 points per characteristic. H and W characteristics are worth 1 point per level, or a maximum of 18 points per characteristic. The L characteristic is worth 4 points per level, or a maximum of 20 points for the characteristic. Each player has 70 points to purchase the levels for all characteristics combined. A player is not required to purchase levels in any characteristic other than the C class. A player is required to purchase a minimum level of 1 under the C characteristic. To show the level purchased in each category, place a dot marker in that level. There is no cost for armor. The type of armor may be chosen by the player and does not figure into the 70-point maximum. The player must place a dot marker under the A armor on the armor type the player desires. Heroes are not required to wear any armor, or if the hero wears armor, any particular type. The hero may or may not carry a shield. If the player selects to have the hero carry a shield, dot marker is placed on it. Weapon proficiency table. Points are also spent on the table to purchase the level of proficiency the hero has with one or more weapons. The maximum number of points that may be used in this table must equal the level determined from the W characteristic on the hero profile table. Points may be spent on one or more weapons. Each level purchased for each weapon costs 1 point. A player may never spend more points on the weapon proficiency table than the level of purchase on the W characteristic. To know which weapon the hero is to be armed with, the weapon is drawn and ready for use. Place a dot marker in the letter code for that weapon. And then set up in preparation for play. Each player should take 1 color only. Each player should take the same color dot counters, 2 gold counters, and 1 jewel counter from the dot counter group. Counter setup. All counters, with the exception of the dot counters, must be placed on the game board. Hero counters are placed on their respective game board section within the areas, and the section's outside edge marked with an H. For monster placement, consulting the diagram below for A, B, and C. Player A's monsters are in Player C's game board section, Player C's monsters are in Player B's section, and Player B's monsters are in Player A's section. All monster counters are placed on respective game board section on any square other than black squares or red squares. All monsters are placed face down the game board. Monsters are placed on the game board before the heroes are placed on the game board. Sequence of play is played in turns. Turn is made up of a series of actions called phases. When all phases have been completed, the turn ends and a new turn begins. The individual actions within the hero activity phase will not necessarily be done in the order given the sequence, or done at all. Each player will perform sequence of play step A in the sequence. Player A will perform all steps first, then player B, then player C. When player C has finished step A, the same sequence will be followed for step B. Step C is performed simultaneously by all players. So there's step A, B, and C. In step A, hero activity phase, determine sighting, attempt to open doors, pick up riches, movement, combat. Then combat, monster elimination, surviving monster defensive attack. Then trap attack, succubus attack, outwitting monsters, changing weapons. Then step B, the monster activity phase, movement, combat. Within combat, hero damage, hero defensive attack. Step C, heroes taking a breather phase. Sequence of play reverts to step A, A new turn begins. And the surviving monster defensive attack and the hero defensive attack is performed by the player being attacked. Stacking. While playing pieces have a stacking factor, no more than 2 stacking factors may be in a single score at a time. Goblins, great goblins, men, and zombies are worth 1 stacking factor for each counter. Trolls, ogres, lycanthropes, the succubus, and traps are worth 2 stacking factors for each counter. Dummy and riches are worth 0 stacking factors for each counter. Only 1 riches counter may be stacked with 1 monster counter. Stacking limitations apply to units stacked in a square for counters moving through a square. That's not super clear. I'll have to see how that goes in play. Movement. General movement rules. Heroes, monsters, and dummy counters may move. Riches counters may not move unless carried by a hero or monster. Each player may move only those counters of his own color. Each player will move his hero counter on his section of the game board. Each player will move his monsters on another player's game board section. All counters that can move have a movement factor that represents the maximum number of squares that may be entered by the counter, or the maximum number of actions that may be performed by the counter, or combination of movement and action including the maximum movement factor. The counter may use some, all, or none of the counter's movement factor each turn. Movement is made through contiguous squares. Squares may not be skipped when a counter is moved. Counters may move horizontally or vertically only. Counters may not move diagonally. Counters may not move off the game board. Counters may not move from one player's game board area to another player's game board area. A counter may move only once per turn. Counters may not move through walls or through the block areas on the game board. Monsters may move freely through doors, with the exception a hero may block a door. Heroes must open doors before the hero moves through the door. Zone of control. A hero may not move through a monster zone of control. Zone of control is defined as the 4 squares facing off of a square occupied by the monster. Dummy, traps, succubus, hero counters do not have zones of control. Monster counters may not move through or onto hero counters. Movement factors for counters. All monster counters may move a maximum of 3 squares per turn. All dummy counters may move any number of squares per turn. A hero counters may move up to the maximum level determined by the hero player for the M characteristic. 1 movement factor equals 1 movement point. Using movement points, all actions in the game cost a movement point to perform. Listed are the MP costs for heroes only. Each square entered, 1 MP. Each attack, 1 MP. Each open door attempt, 1. Each gold counter carried, 1/2. Each weapon changed, 2. Each hard stare, 1. Each riches counter picked up, 1. Note there is no MP cost for a defensive attack. And then for the MP cost for monsters only, each square entered is 1 MP. Sighting. Catacombs are generally dark and gloomy places, making it pretty hard to see anything clearly. Monster counters are placed upside down to reflect this. The hero can see where the counters are placed. He was unable to see what the counter is. All the hero can see are vague shapes in the darkness. General setting rules. Setting in the context of the game represents the ability of one counter to see another counter. All setting is made from the front of the hero counter. It's front and side. Setting rules apply to the hero only. Monsters can always see the hero. Setting follows the line of sight. Line of sight is a straight line. Walls and block areas in game board block line of sight. The Great Pit does not block the line of sight. Heroes can see anything in front of the hero counter that is not blocked and is in a lighted area. Lighted and non-lighted areas. Game board is composed of lighted and non-lighted areas. For instance, these are lighted and these are lighted and these are unlighted. Lighted areas are colored yellow and unlighted areas are colored gray. A hero will automatically see a monster if that monster is to the hero's front and in an unblocked line of sight and in a lighted yellow area of the game board, or The monster is adjacent to the hero's front or side squares. The hero will not see a monster if that monster is not in the hero's line of sight, or in a non-lighted, non-adjacent gray area of the game board, or in any squares to the rear of the hero. But the monster is still in a non-highlighted area game board. The monster may still be in sight. The hero must declare that he is taking a hard stare at a single monster counter. If the monster is to the hero front and unblocked line of sight, but the monster is in a non-lighted area of the game board, the monster may still be seen, but the hero must declare that he is taking a hard stare at a single monster counter. This is done, that monster counter is sighted only. Hard stares cost 1 MP each and apply to one monster counter within the hero's line of sight only. The hero may make as many hard stares as the hero has MPs. Setting traps, dummies, riches, and succubus. These counters may never be seen. Even if all the sighting conditions are met, these counters remain face down on the game board until a hero enters the square they occupy. The only way that they may be seen is for a hero to enter the square containing the counter. At that time, the counter is revealed to the hero player. Results of sighting. If a monster counter is seen by a hero, that counter is turned face up, so the hero player may see what the monster is. If a monster counter is not seen by the hero, that counter is left face down, so the hero player may not see what the monster counter is. Monster counters that are seen by the hero are turned face up to the phase they're seen, and are left face up until they may no longer be seen by the hero. And then it's inverted again. Opening doors. All rooms in the catacomb have one or more doors. A room may not be entered or exited through any square that does not contain a door. Rooms are entered from squares that are hall and passageway squares only. Rooms are exited from squares that are room squares only. Rooms may all be exited or entered from squares that are frontally adjacent to the door square. Heroes must make an open door attempt before entering a room. Heroes do not have to make an open door attempt to exit a room. Monsters do not have to make an open door attempt to enter a room. Monsters may enter rooms at no movement cost and with no delay. It costs 1 MP for each attempt a hero makes to open door. A hero may make as many attempts to open doors as he has MPs. A hero may not enter a room unless the hero has made a successful open door attempt. All doors have a printed numerical value by the door that represents the difficulty of opening the door. How to open doors? The hero must roll 1 die and add this score to the current strength level of the hero. The combined total of the die roll and the strength level equals or exceeds the door's printed value. The door is open and the hero may enter the room. The combined total of the die roll and the strength total does not equal or exceed the door's value. The door is not opened and the hero may not enter the room. Blocking doors. Monsters. Monsters may block doors to try to prevent the hero from entering a room. Monster that is in a room square that is adjacent to an opposite door may attempt to block the door. If the monster player elects to attempt to block the door, the hero player must subtract a number from his open door attempt. If the monster is a goblin, great goblin, or man, the hero will subtract -2 from the open door total. If the monster is a troll or ogre, the hero will subtract -4 from the open door total. The door may not be blocked if the monster is a zombie, lycanthrope, succubus, trap, or dummy counter. If the hero successfully opens a blocked door, the monster blocking the door is automatically killed. Only one monster may attempt to block a door at a time. Blocking doors. Hero. Heroes in a room may attempt to block a door. If the hero is in a square adjacent to an opposite a door and desires to block the door is automatically blocked against all monsters except trolls and ogres. Remember that traps, dummies, and succubus may ignore walls. The monster player will roll 2 dice for a troll or ogre that attempts to enter the door. If the dice score is greater than the hero's strength, level the door. If the dice score is greater than the hero's strength level, the door is forced open. The hero's attempt to block the door fails. If the monsters force open the door, the hero may not make a defensive attack during the monster activity phase. If the open door attempt is not successful, the monster may not enter the room or attack the hero. A monster player may make 1 attempt during a single monster activity phase to force open a door a hero is blocking. Picking up riches. A hero that finds riches countered may look to pick up that counter and carry it with the hero. Riches are found only if the hero is in the same square as the riches counter. A hero may automatically pick up any riches counter the hero discovers. If the hero has enough movement points to pick up the counter. Costs 1 MP to pick up 1 riches counter. When riches counter is picked up by the hero, the counter is placed on the hero's setup sheet of the hero who has picked up the counter. Any counters on the hero's setup sheet are considered to be carried by the hero. The hero may not remove a riches counter from the game board unless the hero intends to carry that riches counter. Each gold counter that is carried by a hero will lower the hero's level movement point by half an MP for each counter carried. There's no MP cost for carrying the jewel counter. A hero may pick up riches during the hero activity phase only. A hero may discard any riches counter being carried at any time during the hero activity phase by removing the riches counter being carried and placing the counter in a square the hero has moved through. Monsters. Monster may carry a single riches counter at no movement cost. A monster may not carry more than 1 riches counter. A monster will pay no cost to pick up riches counter. If a monster has to carry a riches counter, that counter must be stacked with a monster counter. If a monster carrying a riches counter is killed, the monster counter is removed from the game board, but the riches counter remains in the monster's former square. A monster may pick up riches during the monster activity phase only. A monster may discard any riches counter being carried any time during the monster activity phase by leaving the riches counter in any square the monster counter has passed through. Traps, dummies, and succubus counters may not carry riches. Outwitting monsters. General rules. The hero may attempt to outwit monsters during the hero activity phase only. If the hero attempts to outwit monsters, this must be the first activity performed by the hero during that hero's hero activity phase. The hero may attempt to outwit monsters 1 time per turn. How to outwit monsters. The hero player must roll 1 dice and add the score of his die roll to the hero's current intelligence level. If the resulting total is equal to or higher than 10, the monsters are outwitted. Less than 10, the monsters are not outwitted. Outwitting effects. If the monsters are outwitted, the hero may make a full movement, ignoring monster zones of combat, zones of control. The hero may move through squares occupied by monster counters. A hero may not in its movement on a monster counter in the zone of control or in the zone of control of the monster. The hero may perform no other activities other than movement during the phase. The monsters are outwitted. Heroes may not move over traps or the succubus even if the hero succeeds in outwitting monsters. If the hero moves onto a succubus counter, the hero's movement stops, and the hero must suffer a succubus attack. If the hero suffers a trap or succubus attack while outwitting monsters, the hero's movement for that turn stops in the square the attack occurs in. If the outwitting monsters attempt fails, the hero may not move or perform any other activity during the hero's activity phase. The hero may not make any defensive attacks during the monster activity phase. Changing weapons. General rules. A hero may be armed with one weapon only at a time. A hero may carry more than 1 weapon but may use only one of those weapons carried at one time. A hero may not be armed with a weapon the hero has not purchased with points from the W column on the hero profile table. A hero with a current level 1 in the M characteristic may change weapons but may perform other activities during that phase. A weapon may be changed during the hero activity phase only. How to change weapons. To know which weapons the hero is currently armed with, a dot marker is placed on the letter code for that weapon. To change a weapon, the hero player will remove the armed with dot marker from the weapon currently in use and place on the weapon the hero wishes to change to. Pay the 2 MP cost to change the weapon. Combat. General combat rules. All counters other than dummy and riches counters may engage in combat. There are 2 types of combat: attack and defensive attack. Counters must be horizontally or vertically adjacent to engage in combat. Counter attacks during the counter's activity phase, and counter defensive attacks during the opposing counter's activity phase. Both attack and defensive attack follow the same combat procedure. Defensive attack is a surviving counter's response to an opposing counter's attack. No combat may occur in the red areas of the game board. Combat in the hero activity phase. The hero may attack as many monsters as the hero player desires, and the hero has NPs to make the attacks. Each attack a hero makes costs 1 MP. The hero may attack several monsters simultaneously if the monsters are adjacent to the hero counter. This is treated as one attack. After the hero determines the results of each attack, any surviving monsters that have been attacked may make a defensive attack. Combat, monster activity phase. Monster may attack a hero one time in a single turn. There's no limit to the number of monsters that may attack a hero during a single turn, subject to the following. All attacking monsters must be horizontally or vertically adjacent to the hero being attacked. Monsters may not violate stacking limitations. When all monsters have determined the results of their attacks, the hero, unless killed by a monster attack, will do a defensive attack. Hero attack and defensive attack procedure. Both attack and defensive attack use the same procedure. The hero's basic combat ability is based on the weapon the hero is armed with versus the type of monster being attacked. Then you consult the 2-hit table. Across the top of the table are listed each of the monster types. Down the left side are the various weapons the hero may be armed with. Across the grid, the weapons armed with the type of monster. The number is okay. The intersection. This is the number that must be equal or exceeded with a roll of 2 dice. This roll will be modified. So hero modifications to hit. The hero to hit dice roll will be modified by the weapon's proficiency level, the weapon the hero is armed with, and number of monsters being simultaneously attacked by the hero. Weapon proficiency level, add this level rating to the 2-hit die roll. Number of monsters attacked simultaneously. Listed below are the number of monsters attacked. In opposite each, the modifier to the attack dice roll for each monster. Monster attack and defensive attack procedure. Both attack and defensive attack use the same procedure. Basic combat ability is based on the type of monster attacking. Consult the table. This table, the monster 2-hit table. Opposite each monster, the type is a number. This number represents the number that must be equal or exceeded with a roll of 2 dice. This dice roll will be modified. Modifications of monsters 2-hit. There may be certain circumstances in which the monster's die roll for an attack or defensive attack will be modified. The monster's player dice roll may be modified by the monster's position of attack, according to this diagram here, where H is the hero and M is the monster. Each square horizontally or vertically adjacent to the hero's score is a number. This number is added to the monster player's dice roll. The armor a hero is wearing will modify the dice result. Listed below are the modifications. No armor, +1, leather 0, mail -1, plate -2, carrying a shield. It's -1, and a hero with a long axe or hammer may not use a shield modification. The modifications under number 1 and 2 are cumulative. The succubus, trap, and dummy counter. There are 3 counter types. They have very different rules that apply to them as they behave unlike other counter types. Movement. These counters may move a maximum of 3 squares in 1 turn. These counters may move horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. These counters may move through walls and through black colored areas of the game board. These counters may not end their move in black colored area. Black colored areas cost the counter 1 MP to move through. The numbers represent MP's expended in movement, shown there. These counters may not move onto a hero counter. Setting a succubus, trap, or dummy counters. These counters may not be sighted. These counters are revealed to the hero player only when a hero counter enters a square containing these counters. Combat, succubus. When a hero enters a square containing a succubus, the succubus will attack the hero immediately. The attack will occur during the hero activity phase. The procedure for the succubus attack is as follows. The hero player will roll 1 die roll, and the score of this die roll, add the score of this die roll to the current intelligence level of the hero. If the total equals or exceeds 10, the succubus attack fails, and the succubus is destroyed and removed from the game board. If the total does not equal or exceed 10, the succubus attack succeeds, and the hero will lose the difference between the die and the intelligence score and 10 in strength levels. If the hero is successfully attacked by succubus, the hero must remain in the same square and must undergo another attack by succubus at the option of monster player at the beginning of the next hero activity phase. The procedure will be followed until either the monster either elects to stop the attack, or the succubus attack fails and the succubus is destroyed, or the hero strength level is reduced to 0. If the hero strength level is reduced to 0, the succubus must cease attacking the hero, and the hero is free to follow the normal sequence of play beginning with the next hero activity phase. While the succubus is attacking the hero, no other monsters may attack the hero until the succubus counter leaves the square the hero counter is in. Combat traps. When a hero enters a square containing a trap, the trap will attack the hero immediately. The attack will occur during the hero activity phase. All traps have a trap level that reflects the complexity of the trap and the danger it poses to the hero. To determine the trap level, the monster player will roll 2 dice and consult the table below, shown here. This trap level must be determined each time a trap attack occurs. The procedure for a trap attack is as follows. The hero player will roll 1 die and add the hero's current intelligence level to the score of the die roll. If the unit is equal to or higher than the trap level, the trap attack fails and the trap is destroyed or removed from the game. If the result is less than the trap level, the trap attack is successful and the hero receives damage. Subtract the total of the die score plus the current intelligence level from the trap level. The resulting number is the column used on the hero wound table. If the trap attack succeeds, the hero counter is moved back to the square previously occupied before entering the trap square. The hero may then continue moving normally. The trap attack costs the hero 1 MP. Combat dummies. Dummy counters may never attack. If a hero enters a square containing only dummy counters, the dummy counters are automatically eliminated and removed from the game board. If a hero enters a square containing dummy counters stacked with other counters, the dummy counter is automatically eliminated if the other counters are eliminated. Until all counters stacked with dummy counters are eliminated, the dummy counter is not revealed to the hero player. It costs no MPs to eliminate dummy counters. Results of attacks. Hero attack. If a hero's attack hits a monster, the monster is eliminated and removed from the game board. The hero player will place all monsters eliminated by that hero's setup sheet. Monster attack. If a monster's modified dice roll equals or exceeds the monster's 2-hit number, the attack is successful, and the hero will receive damage. Again, and you use the modifications for the attack to see if the attack occurs. The monster player will subtract the 2-hit number from the modified dice scores. The resulting damage is a column used on the hero wound table to determine damage. Hero damage is scored against one or more hero characteristics. To determine the extent and location of damage, the monster player causing the damage will consult on the table below. Across the top of the table are numbers 0 through 6. These represent the results obtained from the monster subtracting the 2-hit number from the modified dice score. Down the left side are numbers 2 through 12. These represent the roll of 2 dice. At the intersection of the horizontal and vertical is a box containing one or more letters. These correspond to the hero characteristics. Each letter represents a loss of 1 level of the characteristic. The hero player receiving damage will note this damage in the hero profile table by adjusting dot markers in those characteristics that receive damage to reflect the damage. Note, any W hits are taken from the weapon the hero is currently armed with and using not the W characteristic on the hero profile table. Excessive damage. If a hero receives damage to a characteristic that reduces the characteristic to less than 0, excessive damage occurs. Any excessive damage must be allocated against another characteristic. Excessive damage may be allocated against more than one characteristic. The hero player will allocate excessive damage. Excessive damage is allocated using the ratio below. Any characteristic other than H is done on a 1-to-1 basis. Any characteristic to the H characteristic is done on a 2-to-1 basis. Hero elimination. Though heroes are not killed outright, as monsters are, heroes may be killed by gradual damage. Any hero that has both the strength and hit characteristics reduced to 0 is dead hero. Dead heroes are eliminated and removed from play. Luck is a hero characteristic. Luck is used by heroes to avoid damage received from monster attacks and defensive attacks. After the monster player has determined the results of the attack, the hero player has the option of using one luck level. Using one luck level eliminates all damage received from all monsters during one monster defensive attack or attack. Using luck levels does not eliminate the results of any attack a hero makes on monsters. Luck may not be used against succubus attacks. When a hero's luck level reaches 0, the hero is out of luck. Taking a breather. Taking a breather represents the hero resting to recoup a bit and cancel the effects of some damage. Only heroes may take a breather. Taking a breather takes place during sequence of play phase 3. To be eligible to take a breather, a hero must either not be attacked during the monster activity phase and not block any doors, or not be attacked during the monster activity phase. A hero may take a breather one time per turn only. A hero may never take a breather in the red colored sections of the game board. Results of taking a breather. If a hero is not attacked during the monster activity phase and does not block any doors, the hero may recover 2 levels of strength, or recover 2 levels of intelligence, or recover 2 levels of weapon proficiency, or recover 1 level of any 2 characteristics listed of those above, or recover 1 level of movement or 1 level of physical appearance. If a hero is not attacked during the monster activity phase but does block a door, that hero may recover 1 level of strength, or recover 1 level of intelligence, or recover 1 level of weapon proficiency. If the hero elects to recover 2 levels of weapon proficiency, the covered levels may be applied to 1 or 2 weapons. In no time may a hero recover levels and apply those to a characteristic that would cause the level of that characteristic to exceed the level purchased by the player at the beginning of the game. Monster point values. All monsters have a point value. The point value may be used to decide which player has won the game. Listed below are the point values for each monsters a hero eliminates, shown here, ranging from dummy of 5 points up to succubus at 20. Charm point values. All heroes have point values based on the appeal of the heroes as a physical specimen. So physical appearance, 10 points each remaining level. Intelligence, 10 points each remaining level. Class, 10 points each remaining level. So intelligence and class come in there too for charm. Rich point values. Rich's point values. Money doesn't hurt. Gold, 40 points. Jewel, 50 points. And those are gold and jewel for each counter carried. Courage point value modifiers. The armor hero wears will modify the point value of the hero it scored for monsters eliminated. Listed below are these modifiers. Heroes wearing no armor increase courage point value by 20%. Wearing leather, courage is unmodified. Wearing mail, decrease courage point value by 20%. Wearing plate, defense, decrease courage point value by 40%. Hero carrying shield, decrease courage point value by 20%. These modifiers are cumulative. Using point values. Courage point values are determined by adding up the point values of all monsters a hero kills, eliminate. This may be modified by the armor the hero is wearing. Charm point values are determined by adding up the current levels of physical appearance, intelligence, and class the hero has when the hero enters the Elisa room and multiplying the total by 10. Rich's point values are determined by adding up the point values for each gold jewel counter carried into the Elisa room. These 3 categories are then totaled to give the hero a final point total. Victory conditions. Object of the game. The objective hero is for each player to get that player's hero counter into the Elisa room on the game board. On the turn in which a hero enters the Elisa room, that hero counter is placed immediately on the Elisa track. This track is located in the game tables area of the game board. Beginning of each turn, the hero counter is advanced 1 box to track. The game ends within a turn in which either a hero counter, which is the heart box on the track, or all hero counters are on the track. How to win. In the event that the object of the game of getting to leave the room and reaching the heart box and track occurs, the player when the hero counter is automatically the winner. In the event that all hero counters on the track, there is no automatic winner. Elisa must make her choice between the heroes that have just finished contest. This choice is based on the hero's final point total. All hero counters on the Elisa track are eligible to win. Any hero counter not on the Elisa track is not eligible to win. All players with a hero counter on the Elisa track will total points the player's hero scored during the course of the game. The player with the highest point total and a point total higher by at least 30 points over the next highest score will be chosen by Lisa as most completely heroic and declared the winner. If there is a tie for the highest point total, the highest point total was not at least 30 points greater than the next highest total. The hero with the highest class level is the winner. If there is a further tie, the hero with the highest personal appearance level is the winner. And then there's some examples. We'll show that in play. Then we'll get to set up and play. Set up and play. I'm going to do 2-player, the red and the blue. So they'll go on the 2 diagonal ones here. I'll have the blue hero go here and the red player go here. So since the blue player is going here, the red player will put all his red monsters up here, and the blue will put all his blue monsters here. And you put them all the monster counters down, including dummies, etc., face down on the board. And you have to leave one of these 8 spots open where the hero can come in. And similarly for here. So I'll put all the red monster counters down. I just put them randomly down. So all the red monsters have been placed down here, and they'll all be flipped over so blue won't see where they are. And then I'll put the blue hero. He'll be coming right in where this H is right here. And similarly I put in the blue monsters here. Just finishing up placing the blue monsters over here. Then I'll place the red hero. The only 8 spot left for him to go is right here. Then each of the heroes gets 2 gold and 1 jewel. So they'll be carrying those. And that'll affect their movement. So I set up the characteristic sheet. So there's a blue player and the red. Just for fun, I'll call blue Betelgeuse and R Rigel. For Betelgeuse, physical appearance 6, intelligence 9, class 5, strength 7, luck 1, hit 12, weapon 18, armor with mail, and he's got a shield for weapons, so he can use a total of 18 across his weapons. He's going to have a long sword and a large axe, both at 9, for a total of 18, and he'll be carrying his long sword initially. That totals up to 17, where it's 1 for each of the points here, 4 for the luck point, totaling up to 70. And then for Rigel, he's going to go with a little bit different mix. He's going to go with higher physical appearance and class, because that might come in to help him out later in the game. 8 physical appearance, a little bit less intelligent, 8 intelligence, class 6, strength 6, more luck. He's going to go with luck 2, so it'll cost him 8 points to get to the 2nd level of luck. Hit 12, weapon 14, so he's got a little bit less weapon capability. Movement 9, which is the same movement that Betelgeuse has. Armor, he's going to go with leather because he's braver if he is able to get through this with less armor, and he's not going to have a shield. He's going to have total weapons of 14. He'll be having a longsword, which he'll be carrying. So he's got proficiency of 9 there, so that's a +4. And then dagger, proficiency of 5, so he gets a +4 for the dagger. But he'll be carrying the longsword. Both heroes are carrying golden jewel, so I'll instead of carrying that in the stacker, I'll just set that off to the side by the hero counter to indicate he's carrying those. And I'll start, and Betelgeuse will go first to the hero activity phase, and then both Betelgeuse and Ragel will go in their turns. First of all, determine the setting. His facing is this direction, in front is here. This is lit and in his line of sight, so you can see what this is. It's a dummy. It's lit over here as well. You need to see if that's in his line of sight, and it is. Turn that over. It's an ogre. And this one here is not lit, so we can't see that. Over here there's a door blocking, so we can't see through that, so that's all I can see. Attempt to open doors. Doesn't have any doors here to open yet. Pick up riches, no riches to pick up. Movement. You go over and approach the ogre. His movement is 9, so he'll be able to get there. He wants to avoid going across this. He doesn't know what that is yet, so he'll be going up. He wants to avoid its zone of control. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the diagonal isn't in his zone of control. So, then doing combat, the hero is using a long sword, and he's battling an ogre. Go over to the hero to hit chart. Long sword to ogre. Needs an 11 or better to defeat the ogre. And you include the modifier as well. His weapon proficiency on his long sword is +4, so it'll add 4 to the die roll. Seven. He wouldn't have made it without his proficiency, but his proficiency gets him up to 11. So he destroys the monster. Monster is removed since he's destroyed. And took 1 movement point as well to do that. So he's up to 7 movement points, and he'll just stop there. Not going to be changing any weapons. Just clarify, when the dummy counter wasn't actually seen by the hero until he walked over it. Just how they work, but that's how the dummy was seen. It doesn't talk really much about facing, so I'll just determine what his facing is going to be. He'll just stay in that orientation. Then we go over to Rigel. Will have his facing be in this direction. See what's in his line of sight. This one isn't because it's blocked. This one is, it's lit and in this forward direction. That one is as well. This one's behind a door, so you can't see it, so it's just these two. We'll see what they are. A man and a goblin. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to avoid going in the zone of control of the man, so we'll go ahead and face him. 2 movement points, then 1 more for attacking. He's got a longsword as well with a proficiency of 4. Longsword to man. Needs an 8 or better. He's got a +4. 5 + 4, 9. So he does that. He's able to get rid of that man. That's all he'll do this turn as well. He's not going to change weapons or anything. Monster movement phase. They can each move 3. The idea is the opposing player knows what the monsters are and moves them, and the player's turn doesn't, but let's look at what they are here. And I could move all of them, but I'm just going to move the ones within 3 of the character to make it simple. And this is just for the knowledge of Rigel, because it's still not seen to Bedlos what these are. Let's be moving these 3. One, 2, 3. He's got a man, a great goblin, and lycanthrope. Looks pretty intense. They can each attack. Go through each of these and see if they hit. First of all, the man, for a roll of 2 dice, he needs a 5 or better. But also you modify that on where he is in the facing and what armor they have. And he's got mail. There's a -1 to the roll, whatever he has. And he's in the front, so there's not a modifier there. 5 or better, but he had mail, so he drops down to 4, so he doesn't hit him. The mail protected him. And then we have the lycanthrope. He needs a 4 or better, but he's on the side of him, so he's got a +2 on that. So he would need a 4 or better, and then the male again. So he gets a +2 on that. 5 +2 for him being on the side, and then a -1 for the male, so it's 7 then down to 6. He does hit him, so he'll become the damage that in a little bit. And then the Great Goblin needs a 6 or better. He's actually behind him, so he gets a +3 on that, but then a -1 for the male. 5 +3, 8, -1 for the male, 7, which is greater than or equal to 6, so he hits him. So a couple hits, and we'll figure out the damage on that. Hero took 2 hits, 1 from the lycanthrope and 1 from the Great Goblin. To figure out the damage done, you take the modified dice roll minus the 2 hit to figure out the column. For the lycanthrope, the modified dice roll is 6, and the 2 hit value was 4. So to calculate the come on table, you take the modified dice roll minus the 2 hit value, and for the lycanthrope, the modified dice roll is 6, 2 hit was 4, so 2. Go to column 2, then roll 2 dice. 11. Loses 1 hit and 1 movement, which I'll take off here. This is a hit. And a movement. And for the hit from the Great Goblin, he needed a 2-hit of 6, and his modified die roll is 7. So you go to column 1. Seven. Loses 1 hit. Or one hit point. So he took pretty substantial damage. Now the hero gets to do his defensive attack. And he has the option of attacking several monsters simultaneously, and there's 3 of them. He's going to attack them simultaneously, and for that, he gets there's a -2 modifier on each of the attacks, but he still has the +4 longsword proficiency, so it's a net of +2. So for the hero against a man, he would need normally an 8 or better. He's got a -2 for multiple attacks, but +4 for his proficiency. So a net of +2 in his roll. 8, so he gets a 10. He does defeat the man in his defensive attack. Then against the lycanthrope, he would normally need a 7 or better. Six plus the 4 proficiency is 10, and then -2 for multiple attacks is 8. So he also defeats the lycanthrope. Then the Great Goblin, he would normally need an 8, 4 plus 4 proficiency, -2. So he's down to 6. He doesn't get rid of him, but still it's pretty successful. Then we'll go over to Rigel. The monster's attacking him. Again, we'll look at the ones, just the ones within 3. See what we have here. Man. Goblin. Trap, but he won't know about that. And zombie. So they'll move into position here. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Let's keep the trap where it is. You can stack up to 2 stacking factors in a square. A zombie has 1 stacking factor and a goblin has 1, so they can stack together. So he's actually got 4 bad guys he's facing. First of all, see if they hit. The goblin would normally need a 7 or better. And the hero's got leather armor, so that doesn't give him any benefit. But since he's attacking from the side, he also gets a +2 in his roll. He gets an 8, +2, 10. And the difference of the modifier to the modified die roll to the 2 hit is 10 minus 7 or 3, so he's going to do significant damage. Then the human would normally need a 5. And he's right behind him, so he gets a plus 3 on that. 7 plus 3. 10. So again, a lot of damage. So the modifier is 10 minus the 2 hit of 5. So he's going to go in column 5. Then Goblin. We need a 7 or better, normally. Gets a 3. And then he's on the right side. So he gets a plus 1, 4. He misses. Then the zombie in the stack would need a 8 or better. He gets a 10, and he's on the side of him, so it's a 11. So the difference between the modified die and the 2 hit roll is 3. So it looks like he's going to have some significant damage. Go up here to the wound table and see what damage he takes. Go on column 3 from the first goblin. 8. This is 2 hit points. The hit from the human in column 5. 3. 2 weapons and 2 hit points. Take off the hit points. It's down to 8 now. There's a couple proficiencies. He'll be knocked down in his sword here. So now he's just got a plus 2 in his sword. Then the last hit is the zombie on column 3. 5. Physical appearance, so he got a little bit scarred, I guess. Pretty significant hits. And now he's gonna do his hero defensive attack. Again, he's gonna be attacking all the monsters. He's got 4 different ones to go after. But since he's attacking 4, he gets a -3 on each. And now he just has a plus 2 on his sword. The hero against the goblin, he would normally need an 8 or better. 8. Plus 2 of the sword, but then -3 for the multiple attack, so he doesn't hit him. Because the result is 7. Against the man, he would normally need an 8. Plus 2 of the sword. He's up to 10, but -3, he's down to 7, so he misses the man. Go to the goblin. 9. He'd normally need an 8. He's got a plus 2 to the sword, -3 for multiple attacks, but that's just enough to get him. So he's removed from play. Then the zombie, he would normally need a 10 or better. 9. Plus 2 to the sword, -3 for multiple. 11. Down to 8, so he misses the zombie. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of sense to play. That's Yaquinto's Hero, a game of adventure in the catacombs from 1980. It's a kind of unique dungeon crawl. Got a lot going for it. I like that everything's, on the board that you need pretty much. That's always a plus. Got a lot of attributes to track. Got to choose, what attributes you want to focus on, what weapon proficiencies you want, what kind of armor. And the two players can move the monsters against the opposing players, so it's kind of neat how they control that aspect of that play to make it more difficult for the other. Enough different monsters to make it interesting, with different abilities. Can encounter traps, and you have to open doors and see what's in sight. There's no ranged weapons, which is a little bit strange, but I guess it'd be more complicated if you had ranged weapons. I like that the combat to hit tables are here, and I like how they do the damage, where if you hit, then you roll and you can do damage in several different characteristics. Instead of knocking down hit points, you can affect physical appearance or movement, etc. That's kind of an interesting way of doing it. I like that. It says the dungeon crawl. The replayability would be by the randomness of where the monsters are, or the different players, what their strategies are for putting monsters in there. Seems like it's quite challenging because you fight several monsters at once, but then you're also pretty powerful against the monsters, and you can do multiple attacks on monsters, which is helpful. So it's a trade-off there. Got a lot going for it. Definitely play it again sometime for a dungeon crawl. I think I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Thanks a lot.